Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to our online class. Kindly comment if my voice is audible sa inyong mga gadgets and devices para maka-start na diyan ta. Okay, good afternoon. Really? Early? Mhm. Again, please confirm if my voice is audible sa inyong mga gadgets and devices so that we can formally. Okay, thank you, Carl, for confirming. So we will start. Okay, so today we will discuss chapter 3 and chapter 4. Chapter 3 is entitled Classification of Human Acts, while chapter 4 is entitled Components of Human Acts. So let's start first with a reminder for everyone. So sa Wednesday, ang atuang activities or schedule is face-to-face, and then we will have chapter 2 quiz, chapter 2 quiz. And after the quiz, we will have oral explanation for chapter 3 and chapter 4. So study from chapter 2 paingon sa chapter 4. Again, chapter 2 quiz, oral explanation for chapter 3 and chapter 4. Okay, so let's start with chapter 3. Again, we have the contents there as usual. We have the learning outcomes, the quotation and its explanation, and the main topic for chapter 3, the classifications of human acts. We have three: morally good acts, morally evil acts, and morally indifferent acts. And then the activities with answers and explanations as well as the references. So let's go to the learning outcomes. So for chapter 3, we have 6 learning outcomes. So we will read it first. So in the process and at the end of the discussion, learners must be able to first develop the ability to identify and distinguish morally good acts, morally evil acts, and morally indifferent acts. Number two, gain insights into behaviors that align with ethical ideals, contribute positively to well being, and foster a sense of morality. Number three, apply the concept of morally good acts in practical scenarios, both individually and collectively, and understand how positive actions contribute to the well being of individuals and society. Number four, comprehend the ethical implications of morally evil acts and their potential cause to cause harm, suffering, and injustice. Number five, understand that the categorization of human acts is always clear and may vary based on ethical theories, cultural perspectives, and contextual factors. And lastly, number six, develop critical thinking skills. Again, importante na siya. Develop critical thinking skills in moral judgment, considering circumstances, intentions, and outcomes in evaluating behaviors. Okay, so let's go to the code, chapter code. So ethical behaviors like seeds of love and honesty grow into a garden of compassion, integrity, and support. when they planted in the fertile soil of our community. So what does this quote imply? So inside the box na dihang atong interpretation sa quote. So the quote implies that morally decent deeds establishes the foundation for a healthy and caring environment. These ethical activities, like seeds that grow into blooming plants, contribute to the establishment of a culture defined by compassion, integrity, and mutual support. It highlights the transforming impact of individual choices on the community's collective well-being. So here we have the classifications of human acts. So human acts are either in accordance or agreement with or contrary disagreement to the laws of reason. And this relationship, either in accordance with or against to reason, defines their morality. In ethical philosophy, there are three categories of human acts. So we have the morally good acts, morally evil acts, and morally indifferent acts. Based on a moral evaluation of the behavior and its compliance with moral standards, human acts are categorized as follows based on their morality or relationship to reason. First, morally good acts. These acts that are morally right or noble, they are consistent with ethical ideals and contribute positively to one's own or others' well-being. Kindness, honesty, generosity, compassion, and fairness are all examples of morally desirable performed acts. Acts of generosity, assisting those in needs, stating the truth or telling the truth, and acts of selflessness are its examples. In simple words, it is a morally good act when the act is in harmony with the dictates of right and correct reason. Dili lang kay right reason, dili lang kay correct reason, but right and correct reason. Okay, so we have there an example, organizing a fundraising event to benefit a local orphanage and include a disabled person, for example, demonstrates acts of kindness, compassion, and generosity. Advocating for honesty and truth in presenting finding during a collaborative assignment demonstrates moral integrity. Furthermore, tutoring and guiding a struggling classmate is an example of selflessness. These are morally beneficial activities promotes a caring and ethical collegiate community, benefiting both individuals and society as a whole. Number two, morally evil acts. These are activities that are morally repugnant or immoral. They are unethical and cause hurt, suffering, or injustice to themselves or others. Dishonesty, harshness, greed, and unfairness are common characteristics of morally bad performed acts. Acts of aggression, lying, stealing, and purposely inflicting harm to others are its examples. So, in simple words, it is considered a morally evil act when the act is in opposition with the dictates of right and correct reason. So, cheating on examinations, being hostile and harsh in group projects, spreading false stories, and stealing or harming others' property are all examples of morally evil behavior in a college atmosphere or setting. These activities are ethically unacceptable and unethical because they inflict harm, misery, or injustice to oneself or to others. Dishonesty, harshness, Greed and unfairness are frequent traits of morally wrongdoing, and they undermine the values of honesty, compassion, and fairness that are necessary for establishing a healthy and supportive campus community. Number three, morally indifferent acts. These are behaviors that do not have a direct moral or ethical significance. They are neither intrinsically good nor evil and may be influenced by the human preference or individual decision. Morally indifferent activities are often value neutral, with no moral responsibilities or ethical repercussions. Everyday actions such as deciding what to wear, listening to music, or participating in recreational pastimes are its examples. So, in simple words, it is a morally indifferent act when the acts stand in no positive relation to the dictates of reason. Again, it is morally indifferent act when the act stand in no positive relation to the dictates of reason. So, in theory, morally indifferent acts exist, but in practice, they do not exist. Again, I will repeat, morally indifferent acts exist in theory, but in practice, they do not exist. A neutral or morally indifferent act, muna siyang explanation nga no, a neutral or morally indifferent act becomes good or evil depending on the conditions that determine its performance, particularly the aim in view, the motive. Okay? I will give example ana sa ato ang kuan face-to-face meet up karong Wednesday sa inyong explanation time. Okay? Oral explanation. Okay, so human act categorization is not always clear and can be subjective depending on the context. What is deemed ethically good or bad varies depending on the ethical theory or cultural perspectives. Furthermore, certain behaviors may fall into a moral gray area in which their moral judgment is contingent or changing on certain circumstances, intentions, or outcomes. Understanding the numerous classifications of human acts is critical for ethical analysis, moral decision making, and judging persons' moral character. It provides a framework for debating and evaluating activities based on their ethical implications and compliance with moral norms. Excuse me. Understanding these contrasts enables us to handle knotty moral boundaries with greater clarity and cultural sensitivity. We can develop a more informed and compassionate society that accepts different points of view while adhering to basic ethical standards by engaging in ethical analysis. Okay, so that's for chapter 3. After that, we have the activity 3, true or false, with the answers and explanations. Again, dili na siya mao atong i-quiz sa Wednesday, but ang chapter 2. Kining chapter 3, chapter 4, next week na ni siya quiz. Okay, so dili lang memorize itong true or false ha. Ato ning pang-rearrange para may bawaan na ito kung pinsa gid ang nag-study, dili na kayo nag-memorize. Okay? So let's move to chapter 4, components of human acts. Again, naara ta sa chapter 4, components of human acts. So in this chapter, we have again 6 learning outcomes. So first, we have develop the ability to assess and comprehend the significance of knowledge in decision-making processes. Number two, cultivate an understanding of the role of freedom as the foundation for personal liberty and self-determination. Number three, recognize the importance of voluntariness in fostering internal motivation and a sense of purpose in actions. Apply the concepts of knowledge. Meaning number four, apply the concepts of knowledge, freedom, and voluntariness to make informed and responsible decision in academic and real life situations. Number five, acknowledge the interconnectedness of knowledge, freedom, and voluntariness in shaping individual agency and personal development. Number six, appreciate the ethical implications of the components of human acts and their role in contributing to a just and respectful community. So, asa naman ang uban? Nawala ang lagi sila. Where are you? From 20 plus down to less than 20 participants. Naunsa na ninyo ang attendance ani? Dili na siya mag-coincide sa nag-participate. Okay? So let us continue. Uh, Chapter 4 quotation. Understanding the interplay of human acts enables us to become aware designers of our own fate, nurturing compassion and principled living in the immense tapestry of life. Okay, so what does this quote mean? Again, nasa box, ang ito ang interpretation. Okay, thank you. We're still here, sir. Okay, but where are the others? Nawala na ang uban. Okay, so here we will read the interpretation. Understanding how different human activities interact allows us to consciously shape our futures. Understanding this dynamic allows us to build values such as compassion and principled living, thereby contributing to the vast and complicated fabric of existence. It essentially highlights the importance of awareness and deliberate decisions in creating a meaningful and ethical existence. So, let's proceed to the main topic of this chapter, the components of human acts. A human act must have three key characteristics. It must be knowing, free, and voluntary. So as a result, we list knowledge, freedom, and voluntariness as essential components of the human act. First, we have knowledge. So having knowledge before taking any action is crucial because it helps us consider the potential consequences and make informed choices. Knowledge empowers us to evaluate the risks and benefits of our decisions, allowing us to make more thoughtful and responsible choices. Without knowledge, we may act impulsively, overlooking the long-term impact of our actions. In an academic context, for example, having knowledge about subject before writing an essay or taking a test allows us to present well-informed arguments and answers. Similarly, in real-life situations, being informed about various options can help us avoid making regrettable decisions and lead to better outcomes. Number two, freedom. Freedom is the foundation of personal liberty and self-determination. It enables us to mold our lives in accordance with our beliefs, interests, and goals. When we have the freedom to make decisions, we accept responsibility for our actions, which can result in a feeling of empowerment. and personal advancement. It is vital to understand that freedom comes with responsibility. While we have the freedom to make our own choices and decisions, we must also consider the consequences of our actions on others and to society as a whole. So, this notion is frequently summed up with the saying, with great freedom comes great responsibility. Lahi po itong sa Spider-Man, okay? Yung Spider-Man is, with great power comes great responsibility. Sa ato ethics, with great freedom comes great responsibility. Okay? So last of the components of human acts, we have voluntariness. So voluntariness highlights the necessity of behaving in accordance with our preferences and will. We are more likely to be internally driven, engaged, and invested in what we do when we engage in voluntary actions. So, mas maayo siya nga kung natin mo-participate ta voluntarily para dili magsakit ang taani kasing-kasing or mga dughan. Okay? This internal motivation has the potential to lead to a more fulfilling and authentic life. So, mas patsada di ko tong nag-volunteer ka sa inyong mga itong buhaton. Okay? Dili itong mga gipangpubos ka lang. So, na-mention na siya diri. So, voluntary actions are more likely to be in line with our beliefs and personal goals, contributing to a stronger sense of purpose and fulfillment. Being coerced or forced into actions, on the other side, can lead to resentment, stress, and a sense of powerlessness. So kung pugson daw ka pagbuhat sa usa ka butang nga dili mo gusto buhaton, it can lead to resentment, stress, o a sense of powerlessness. Okay? Mura lang kag nagsunod-sunod, wala na kay laing choice. Okay? So understanding these three essential components can assist us in leading more meaningful and responsible lives. We become active agents in molding our destiny when we have the information to make educated decisions, the freedom to act according to our values, and the willingness to pursue our goals. It also emphasizes the notion that each individual has the ability to make decisions and accept responsibility or accountability for their actions. Additionally, recognizing the significance of these essential components of human acts could motivate us to respect the independence and authority of others. It prompts us to consider the factors that might be affecting their choices as well as the necessity of fostering an environment in which people can act knowingly, freely, and voluntarily. So, by doing this, we encourage a more just and courteous society where people can prosper and positively impact the communities in which they live or in which they are living. Okay, so that is it for chapter 4. Again, sa Luyo, our next page, we have the true or false activity with the answers and explanations. It will be included in next week's quiz. So that is it. That's our class for today, our online class. So again, chapter 3, classifications of human acts. We have morally good acts, morally evil acts, morally indifferent acts. So chapter 4, components of human acts. We have the knowledge, freedom, and voluntariness. So that is all. Again, reminding everyone sa atong quiz this coming Wednesday, 4 to 5 p.m. Class Mayor, kindly secure a classroom for us. Okay? Ang ato ang quiz is ang chapter 2. So that is it. Thank you for participating. You can now log out and you are free to do whatever you want to do during this time. Okay? So God bless and thank you. See you Wednesday.